Chapter 2, Literature Review. The History of Art Education. Benefits of art in education. Other emerging or developed economies integrate art education into their curriculum because these countries recognize the benefits that art has on innovation and the other country's long-term economy. For the middle school students in California to be innovative and competitive, students should have art courses throughout their general education to produce higher levels of thinking, self-efficacy, and divergent thinking. Art education cultivates and nurtures self-efficacy through the production of art beyond age 3 by using creative learning processes through project-based learning. While enrolled in a middle school, students need the opportunity to continually develop their divergent thinking through art education. Art education also improves student achievement in other disciplines by creating higher-order learning processes by utilizing Webb's depth of knowledge, multiple intelligences to cultivate self-efficacy, and divergent thinking for student academic achievement. Traditional ways of teaching are not preparing students for attaining the goal of preparing students for higher education and future careers. Students have the potential to receive an alternative form of engagement through art education. Through art education, students have the opportunity to receive differentiation and accommodations while learning core content through multiple intelligences. Multiple intelligences. As a result of tracking, scholars have identified that teaching has been limited to banking approaches to education for the sake of high-stakes testing. Gardner has explored the idea of multiple intelligences that differentiates learning into the different domains that students obtain knowledge. Multiple intelligences are an essential learning approach because students may be able to acquire knowledge more effectively as opposed to the traditional banking method. Multiple intelligences not only have the potential to encourage divergent thinking, but is designed for students to obtain knowledge in a way that is suitable for the student's learning domain and ability. When students learn in a domain that meets the student's preferred method of learning, students will be able to understand the content being taught by teachers while maintaining the student's self-efficacy. The multiple intelligence domains are biologically kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, linguistic, logical-mathematical, musical, naturalistic, and spatial. Gardner detailed the different types of intelligence that students have to show the different ways that students learn information from their peers and their teachers. Since individual students learn through various teaching styles, educators must diversify their teaching methods to make their teaching accessible for the diverse learners in their classrooms. The teaching strategy that showed to be successful in getting students to understand the lessons despite the types of intelligence that the students had was using art. Teachers were able to use art to accommodate and differentiate lessons for students based on the type of intelligence that showed to be a more successful learning strategy for the students. Gardner proposes that individual thinking can become more complex and more abundant by posing different levels of sophisticated questions instead of measuring intelligence solely based on intelligence quotient. Individual thought becomes more complex and more abundant when learners hear or observe others at a higher level of thinking. Students are more engaged when the preferred learning domain is implemented through multiple intelligences by teachers. Students are also able to improve in learning domains that students are struggling in as teachers differentiate lessons using different modalities for other students that prefer other domains. Collectively, all of the categories of art can be placed within all of the domains of Gardner's multiple intelligences by educators. As teachers expose students to different domains of learning, students can potentially learn lessons from multiple perspectives and cultivate divergent thinking. Gardner's idea of bodily kinesthetic intelligence allows learners to perform hands-on tactile tasks to physically produce products through project-based learning. Interpersonal intelligence is the ability of an individual to interpret and distinguish the mood, motivations, and feelings of others. Intrapersonal intelligence is the ability of an individual to be self-aware of the strengths and weaknesses of oneself. Linguistic intelligence is the ability of an individual to communicate effectively, both orally or written. Logical mathematical intelligence allows an individual to calculate numbers effectively, such as a scientist or computer programmer. Musical intelligence is the capacity to critique, compose, and perform music while being able to identify rhythm, pitch, or melody. Naturalistic intelligence is an individual's knowledge of the environment that includes species and natural phenomena. Spatial intelligence consists of the ability to construct visually represented ideas, such as in the case of architects, artists, or inventors. Visual spatial intelligence can be used while analyzing artwork during written critiques and while mixing colors to create a color wheel. Linguistic verbal intelligence is used when participants respond verbally to quick write questions or while creating stories, poems, and poetry. Interpersonal intelligence can be achieved when students collaborate in pairs, groups, or as a whole class. Intrapersonal students are appealed to when students create individual artwork, reflect on artwork, and improve artwork. Logical mathematical intelligence is incorporated through the techniques and tools that students use, including compasses, rulers, one-point perspective, atmospheric perspective, two-dimensional or three-dimensional drawing renders, and design. Musical intelligence in VAPA is demonstrated when students are involved in orchestra and band with the opportunity to use instruments. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence is used when students use motor skills to use tools or when students are involved in the performing arts through dancing and acting. Naturalistic intelligence can be introduced to students by using the environment as a reference, resource, or subject for instruction. Tomaselli and Getto's theory is that incorporating Gardner's multiple intelligences into lessons positively affect the progress of the students while also providing the students with the optimum learning environment. The research examines each type of intelligence, including verbal linguistic intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, naturalistic intelligence, existential intelligence, musical, kinesthetic, and spatial intelligence. The study's research purpose is to show how multiple intelligence teaching strategies can be used for self-efficacy by educators in the classroom. The research design of the study uses content analysis. The research methodology is an analysis of Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences. The study's significant findings is that students have multiple intelligences and learn differently. The study's limitations are that the study describes how educators can implement multiple intelligences, but do not give an instance of a similar study conducted in the past. A recommendation for future research would be to conduct this study with actual students as participants that utilize multiple intelligences to complete a given class assignment. As a part of this recommendation, students will learn about specific content for a lesson, but will be able to submit student work that is preferable to a student's strength. A gap in the Tomaselli and Getto's study requires that the lesson be implemented in a class with an optimum learning environment. Tomaselli and Getto do not define an optimum learning environment by class size, available funding, school support, and does not consider that a learning environment can be unpredictable.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.